Welcome to NIDA's podcast for August. This month we're talking about Bodyline 07, which is a collection of 3 movement works, directed and choreographed by Fiona Malone and Joanna Puglisi, who are current movement studies students, and Joshua Considine, a movement studies graduate. So let me first ask you, Josh, what is Bodyline?
It's a physical theatre show, which is essentially a movement piece which doesn't necessarily involve a script or a script which has been devised or a play. It's essentially a chance for the actors to get in touch with their own physical charisma, the idea of using their body as a tool in their acting as opposed to voice and other things. Essentially a chance for them and a chance also for the movement studies students control a group of students, devise a work, come up with a piece of work, a short piece of work. They're not too long a lot of the time. That expresses where they're coming from or a particular theme.
And so Fiona, tell me a bit about your piece and what it's called.
So I've called my piece Looney Times. It's really inspired by the way cartoons have been used historically for political propaganda. The comedy is actually quite black and the messages that we receive and we find quite comic at the time, and then if you look a little bit further it may not be at all. That's the inspiration for the piece and also the aesthetic for the piece. It's Looney Times. Obviously I feel like the world is a little bit like that right now, so it's a reflection of the current state of world events.
Jo, and how have you found working with the first year actors?
Working with the first year actors is a very rewarding experience because it's actually taken me outside of a physical language that I'm accustomed to working with. It's actually forced me to look at movement in a very different way, and that increased the theatrical possibilities of movement within my own vocabulary. It's a very challenging process, but a very rewarding one.
What's your piece about?
My piece is called Out of the Blue. The initial inspiration for it came just from watching everyday moments out in the public, and it's slowly refined itself down to the concept of falling. So looking at the connotations of falling in humanity and as well as a physical sensation.
And so how did you come to be a director and a choreographer of movement pieces? What's your background, Josh?
My background is as a dancer, years and years of dancing at the Australian Ballet Company, Sydney Dance Company, but always with a very keen eye to theatre and thinking of dance not as just ballet or just any different one of the genres, but dance as a physical medium, that incongruous thing about communicating with your body that we all are born with, a sense of being able to pick up on people's body language. And I think dance in many respects is a extension of that. So is acting. Most of the acting that you see done is in between the words, especially in film.
Fiona, what's it like studying a movement here at NIDA? What do you do as part of the course other than Bodyline?
Well, Bodyline's actually our major assessment for the postgrad diploma in movement studies. So the lead up has been really that the first term involved a lot of observation of classes and teaching the first year actors mostly. So it was an introduction to them and the language that we may need to use in trying to teach body awareness and stretching and strengthening exercises. Second term involved more observation, but also we started to teach some of our own classes so we could see how our language was going and whether or not the actors were actually responding to our teaching methods. And we were also involved with play productions, some of the Shakespeare, Sweet Charity, which Jo was involved with. So we had more opportunity to actually participate on the productions. Now this term it's mostly about seeing the result of all of that in the Bodyline productions. And then we go on to do a few other assessments and we're involved with other second and third year productions.
So Jo, Fiona mentioned there that you worked on Sweet Charity. How was that?
Sweet Charity was an amazingly huge experience. It was a real opportunity to put my dance knowledge to work, so working really closely with the actors and taking warm-ups for them, making sure they were prepared for rehearsals, assisting the choreographer. So basically learning the show inside out, all the dance routine, and ensuring that everybody was in the right place at the right time, and just taking them through a coaching sort of process to make sure that all of them ended up pretty much on the same page, because out of all of those performers there would have been maybe 2 or 3 that had formal dance training. All the others have had their dance training here at NIDA. It was a huge task to make sure that they were all together as a group and ready to go on stage, shiny and polished, and just to help out as much as possible.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Fiona, Joanna and Josh, for your time. And look, I wish you all the best with Bodyline, which opens on the 30th of August through to the 1st of September at the Parade Theatre's NIDA. Now, you guys are back straight into rehearsals in about 20 minutes.